The Biden-Harris administration is soon coming to a close. The presidential transition is underway, and this may be one of the last times that I'm with you here at DCA. So I want to take a moment to remark on what we have been able to do since we got here, starting with something that I think is all too easy to forget, which is the condition of the U.S. aviation sector 4 years ago when President Biden took office. It was still the midst of the pandemic. The airline industry had, all right, now we can all hear me. The airline industry had been brought to a standstill by the onset of that pandemic. There was no consensus about how long it would take for our nation's airlines to recover or whether our airlines would survive at all. Through relief packages passed in Congress, American taxpayers ensured that airlines in the U.S. stayed afloat in that time of need because our nation needs a functioning system, both for passengers and for cargo. Those measures worked. As we all know, they worked so well, we sometimes forget how close we came to the airline sector completely collapsing in this country had it not been for those interventions. But it did work, and the airline industry came roaring back, so much so that they almost immediately faced the opposite problem, struggling to keep up with the extraordinary demand. And too often it was passengers who felt the brunt of that. So our department stepped up and stepped in to use every power within our authority to improve service and to improve the flying experience for airline passengers. In concrete terms, some of what that includes automatic refunds for canceled and changed flights, refunds for late baggage, refunds for services not provided like Wi-Fi or seat selection or in-flight entertainment. During disruptions, free rebooking, meals, hotels, related transportation. No more family seating junk fees for several airlines. Passengers who experienced delays on Southwest flights that are considered controllable will receive $75 compensation vouchers as required by our consent order. And the first ever protections against frequent flyer points devaluation that were secured in the Alaska-Hawaiian Agreement. Enhanced protections for millions of passengers with disabilities who deserve to travel safely and with dignity. $4 billion in refunds that had been owed by airlines to passengers secured with our help. And a new partnership with over 20 state attorneys general that makes it possible for them to investigate airline complaints. And there is even now a lot more good work underway to make sure passengers get a fair deal, which is why we are working on rules to ban family seating junk fees outright on all flights, to require airlines to pay cash compensation to travelers that they strand, setting standard for when and what level of service, like meals, hotels, related transportation, and free rebooking, airlines will provide during disruptions, and protections for passengers who use wheelchairs. We're fighting in court for our rule requiring airlines to tell you up front what fees they charge, a common sense measure that the airlines are still suing to overturn. Investigating Delta Airlines and others for meltdowns that took place this summer. Scrutinizing airline privacy policies to make sure that they are not unfairly using passengers' personal data. Probing the 4 largest airlines' reward programs amid concerns that they could be devaluing points, hiding prices, charging extra fees,
or the most crowded airspace in the country. For example, earlier this year we made